Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, Monday, December 11th. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith with you, ready to break down the Monday card. And we were just like literally 5 minutes ago, expected to still have our guest Carter Hutton on the show with us. But I got a phone call literally 2 minutes before I sent Alex the link and we're ready to do the show. And he's got an emergency, go to the school, pick up his kid who's sick, apparently throwing up at school. So not good. And mom is working today, so he's the only person at the moment that can handle it. So, and he felt awful, but I said, don't worry about it. We'll have I said to him, we're only here 7 days a week for the next 5 or 6 months. I'm sure we can squeeze you in our very, very busy schedule. I'm sure that won't be an issue. So, I mean, we were all excited. He was really excited. He felt I could hear the pain in his voice saying, I hate to do this at the last minute, but it is what it is. It's all good. Life intercedes sometimes. And I know at this point of the year, what sicknesses are going around right now. Yeah. It's everywhere. Everyone's been hit with flu or a cold or something, at this part of the year. I'm still, my throat is still working its way back from it. I still have the odd coughing fit every now and then. So no worries. We'll get Carter back later in the season at any point when it fits his schedule. Certainly he said in the new year, he said he's going to be a lot more free time. So all good. The show goes on, and we roll along here for this Monday on the Ice Guys show. We'll look back first on Sunday in the NHL. We had obviously a busier Sunday than normal. 8 games yesterday in the NHL. It started with Florida beating Columbus 5-2 in that game, a 5-2 victory for the Panthers. Another one of these games for Columbus, where that's 2 in a row with Columbus where I've had the over. And it's been like a miracle that the bet ended up cashing in and winning. The St. Louis-Columbus game on Friday, and, of course, the game yesterday with Florida. Over the total with some frantic finish and a lot of goals late. Very, very intense game, very, very physical game, and a shit ton of things unfolded during that game, including the incident that everyone really has been talking about the last 24 hours involving Nick Cousins for the Florida Panthers and Erik Gudbranson for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Look, it's a dangerous hit. It's a reckless hit. There's no question. Planting Gudbranson from behind into the boards like that. You just got to be more aware of what's the surroundings there. If you're Nick Cousins, you can't just drill him full force into the boards like that. And it's funny because Gudbranson took the brunt of that hit. Looked like he was down and in significant pain. And then he does the old Undertaker and pops right up and then just goes after Nick Cousins, knowing that that's the guy that hit him. And then Nick Cousins, while Gudbranson went after him, drops to the ice and turtles and covers himself up. It reminded me of Claude Lemieux back in the day when McCarty was absolutely pummeling him with the Red Wings-Avs rivalry in the 90s. And that's unsettling to me to see that, quite honestly. Look, whether you want to fight the guy or not, whether he's in your weight class or not, you just drilled that guy into the boards, and it was a vicious, reckless, and it possibly could have been a hit that put Gudbranson out for a period of time. Thankfully, that wasn't the case. He's got every right to be pissed. He's got every right to be angry, at that point in time. And to see Cousins not even attempt to defend himself, like it's almost like you laid that hit on him, take your punishment, take your medicine, and face the man, and at least stand up for yourself a little bit. And he didn't do that. And I think Gudbranson was livid that Cousins turtled like that because Cousins is a physical player. And yet he's not even going to, attempt to do battle there with Gudbranson. And Gudbranson was livid at the hit from the beginning. So then he gets out of the box and you could see he was like a predator on the ice. Gudbranson, he was seeking out Nick Cousins after he served that initial penalty. And sure enough, he went after him again. And that's when he just started feeding him rights on the ice and turtled again for a second straight time. Nick Cousins, that I don't like. Look, did Gudbranson the second time around go over the top with pummeling him like that? Yeah, it was vicious. It was vicious. In the public view, that's assault. I get it. But at the same point in time, that was a dirty hit. It's a vicious hit. It's a reckless hit. It could have put him out for a long-term injury. And then to see Nick Cousins just turtle and not even defend himself and cower like that, not once but twice, I thought that was a bad display by Nick Cousins. Bad display. Now, did Gabranson lose his shit maybe a little too much the second time around? He's just treating him like a punching bag, maybe a little bit. But Nick Cousins, defend yourself, man. You have the guts to take that kind of punishment, to lay that kind of hit on somebody, and that guy's pissed, and rightfully so. Goodbranson, take your medicine. Stand up to the guy and at least do the best you can to fight or defend yourself against him. Don't do that turtling shit. I don't respect that. I'm sorry, I don't. And that's very disheartening to see Nick Cousins resort to those tactics, turtling, cowering, with Goodbranson, knowing that he damn well did something that was reckless and he shouldn't have made that hit right into the boards like that. I don't blame Goodbranson for being pissed. And then to be probably more pissed that the guy won't answer the bell for what he just did and cower and turtle like that. Like a little bitch. That's what he was, unfortunately, Nick Cousins in that moment. So didn't like that at all. Didn't like the whole thing, but especially on the Cousins end of it. Stand up for yourself. You have the cojones to drill someone between the numbers into the boards, which could have ended his season, and you don't have the guts to stand up to him like a man and defend yourself and take your medicine for a hit that you shouldn't have laid in the first place. I don't respect that at all. Very disappointing actions for me, Alex, for Nick Cousins. And I know people said, oh, that's assault. That's assault. Goodbranson should get the book thrown at him. And Goodbranson's going to get suspended for what he did. There's no question. Like you see having a hearing today with the Department of Player Safety. There's no question. But, you don't throw a hit on that and expect retribution. You're going to expect someone to be angry and want to take your head off when you lay a hit like that. And for Cousins to not even attempt to defend himself, very disappointing. Alex, what did you think of that whole scene?
No, I didn't even talk about it on Twitter, but I was just enraged with it because we've been seeing this kind of behavior grow and intensify for years and years now, and it's funny as today being the 32nd anniversary of Gary Bettman installed as the NHL commissioner. He's allowed this to happen for years and years, and so now you have these players who are bitch made like Nick Cousins who make like I said, you're taking your liberties and making a big hit to try to help your team, right? Dirty it might be, okay. But we know the intent behind it, right? You're not trying to just go out and hurt this guy. This wasn't the David Perron incident. This is I'm trying to make a play and an impact for my team. Okay, but now you hurt somebody. You have to answer the bell. And like you said, so for you to go around and do that, and then all of a sudden, the way that he just completely cowered and said, wasn't that he got hurt? He got into a fight. One thing to turtle if you got hurt in a fight and you can't go anymore. All right, you turtle in, you're giving up. That's your submission. But you just turtle and don't even throw a punch, don't even engage in an actual combat. Just duck down like a little bitch. Yeah, and I don't blame Goodbranson at all for throwing the punches as he's turtling. Yeah, whoop his ass. I'm all for that. That's assault off the ice. But in this sport, as long as we still have these rules and parameters that allow fighting, that's not an assault. Now, he took it a bit too far because it's one-sided. Yes, give him the punishment, give him a fine, give him suspension. That's fine. But in my eyes, Nick Cousins should be suspended the game too because you delivered that hit. And instead of answering the bell, now you made it seem like it was a malicious attack. Because if that was just a clean hit and then you go on and you defend yourself, okay, fine, you lose in the fight or whatever, and you serve your 5 minutes and now we're done. But now this becomes, longer and longer because Goodbranson's going to get suspended. And you think, okay, these teams play again in the rest of the season. You think Cousins, you got to answer for it sometime. If you don't answer for it now, this thing doesn't just go away. And throwing money at the problem, throwing some guys sitting out games is not going to solve the problem. So all these people who are all up in arms about what Goodbranson did, still pummeling him after he turtled, no, I have no problem with that at all. I'm fine with it. Also, it should be reprimanded. We shouldn't have that. There should be engaged one-on-one fights. There shouldn't be guys getting the shit kicked out of them while they're on the ice. But at the same time, because of that circumstance, I don't think the suspension should be any longer than a couple of games. He should get the maximum fine. But I also think Cousins should be suspended too for what he did.
I think obviously Goodbranson, look, he was livid. He was just furious that someone delivered a hit of very questionable nature like that to him and then turtled right after. And then he went after him and he said, I'm not taking this. And this guy has the gall to turtle and not even try to defend himself when I confront him for what he just did. No wonder he was pissed, and he's going to get a suspension. And look, but it was a vicious beating that he was laying on Cousins there. I get it. But at the same time, I mean, it was a couple of shots. He got in there quick. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen worse. We've seen way worse
I've
in one-sided instances. I'm not even saying fair fights. We've seen Tom Wilson nearly breaking Panarin's neck a couple of years ago. 100 times worse than that. So I wouldn't say it was even a pummeling. He was throwing punches and it wasn't being returned. That's all.
Yeah, and then I heard this people say on Twitter, well, maybe Nick Cousins, just realized what a big. And he is big in stature, good Branson. I get it. Didn't want any part of it. Didn't want to fight. And then people saying maybe he's not much of a fighter. That's a bunch of nonsense. All you have to do is go on YouTube and search Nick Cousins fight, and you'll see he's fought several times before. So that's just a bunch of garbage that he's not a fighter. That's the mentality you're using to defend, Nick Cousins for turtling not once but twice there in that situation. That's the biggest garbage and crock of shit I've heard in a very long time, that he's not a fighter. He can defend. I've seen him. He can defend himself when he wants to. He just chose not to this time around. In a time when he's got to realize that I don't care what your reasons are for turtling, whether you're worried that Goodbranson's going to beat your ass up in a fight, which is probably true because of the size advantage and everything. Yeah. But you've got to eat what you did. You got to eat it. You got to live with it, and you got to pay the comeuppance for it. And if that means fighting the guy or someone for that, you got to do it and take the medicine. And he didn't do it. He just dropped down and turtled twice, not once, twice. That to me is just can't happen. Unacceptable behavior by him. You could say unacceptable behavior, but the actions of Goodbranson the second time, that's not as bad as what Cousins did, in my opinion. That's the way I see it.
His teammates should let him know that.
Yeah.
Because you put your teammates in a bad spot. Now, let's go back to Detroit, Ottawa. Artem Zub takes a cross check to the side of the head for no reason. He was not even involved in the hit that laid out Larkin. So when you have situations like this, and then that animosity boils over, then all of a sudden somebody else who's not even involved, they get hurt. And now you got other people, so it scatters around your team. So you put your teammates in a bad situation when you do things like that. Selfish behavior.
If I was a hockey player, and let's say, because I don't have a lick of toughness, I'd never put myself in a position to just drill someone from behind like that, because I know people are going to go for my head, and I know I can't fight worth a shit. So I wouldn't even make the hit to begin with. But when Nick Cousins commits to making that hit on Goodbranson, he's got to realize shit might hit the fan, and he's going to be pissed off about it. So that's just. I did not expect Nick Cousins to do that, because I didn't think he was that kind of player, and that's what disappointed me. I didn't think he was that kind of player at all, because I've seen him fight before multiple times. I did okay in a lot of those fights. I never in a million years thought we would see that out of Nick Cousins, and disappointing, in my opinion. That definitely overshadowed the game. Florida getting the win there, 5-2. Edmonton keeps rolling 4-1. Edmonton's playing great hockey when Calvin Pickard starts for them and holds New Jersey to 1 goal. Wow. Unbelievable. The roll continues for the Oilers. A nice 4-1 win against the Devils. Right as rain from our guy Alex B. Smith, knowing those Blackhawks and knowing their struggles on home ice in Sunday night home games at the United Center. And here we go again. 4-2, they lose to the Washington Capitals last night. Nashville with a 2-1 win against Montreal. A sweep there for me with the Nashville -1 and Nashville in regulation. I thought good spot for them after getting shut out by Toronto on Saturday. And then the Rangers winning, and Jonathan Quick's opportunity to play his old team. We were all over that. It was a dual best bet. Alex used it as best bet yesterday, and so did I. The New York Rangers -115 money line against the Kings. Rangers get the job done 4-1 last night. Great performance by Jonathan Quick, and the only goal that went in, he had no chance. It was a beautiful passing play by the LA Kings. He was very sharp. You could tell he wanted that. And you see the big ass smile on his face after that game ended last night. You could tell that meant something to him, beating the Kings. He was hurt. He was emotionally hurt. That's like hurting your best friend's feelings, what the LA Kings did with Jonathan Quick, because Jonathan Quick didn't think he was getting dealt. He honestly believed, whether right or wrong, he honestly believed he was finishing his career with the Los Angeles Kings, and he was not expecting to be traded like that. It hurts him, I believe, deep down inside still. Obviously time heals all wounds, and this is not going to be something he carries around with him for the rest of his life. But and down the road, Alex, when they'd have the 10-year, 20-year cup reunion shit that teams do, in 2020, 2033, you're going to see probably a 20-year or 2038, a 25-year cup reunion for the LA Kings teams, it's going to be water under the bridge. He's not going to be pissed off anymore at the Kings. It's going to be the good times and all the great years and the prime of his career and winning the Stanley Cups. But just right now in the immediate, in the short term, he was hurt by the Kings trading him. And you could tell he played with that hurt and that anger and that fury last night against the LA Kings in his first start against them. So great. And plus the Rangers too were a lot better. The Washington game was a bad game. I kind of felt they left their heads and their hearts in MSG, which is what I told John Massey and you, Alex, in our DM the other night. And they did. And the heads and the hearts were back in full force last night for the New York Rangers, and they got it done.
Yeah. Like Hannibal always said in the A-team, I love it when a plan comes together. And we had this thing mapped out for like a couple of days with Kings and Rangers. Loved how this Kings have been playing on the road. We were, lucky. I was certainly lucky to grab the draw and the correct score when they came back and tied and eventually beat Columbus. But knowing that momentum, we saw, okay, the writing's got to be on the wall. This thing can't last forever. And then the teams that they matched up against into the weekend, first with the Islanders, they lose in overtime 3-2 and thinking, okay, maybe that kind of takes us off of the spot. If anything, it made things a little bit better. Now you got another game that went past regulation. You end up losing, so now the streak is halfway over. At least, you didn't get a regulation loss. But that softened them up perfectly for the spot to have, the Rangers coming home, having Quick getting the start, and they just dominated. Just another great performance. And, as good as the Kings look, and they're still a quality team, I think the Rangers showed they're that much better. And if you look at patreon.com/Ice Guys, look at my power rankings. The Rangers have taken over that top spot. In my eyes, they're the number one team in the NHL, and that was a very solid victory. And Jonathan Quick, he goes from, being kind of casted out and left behind in LA and then bouncing around. And now, the Rangers, post-game show, they were talking about this, but do we have a goalie controversy on our hands? I don't think it's a controversy. I think Jonathan Quick is your number one guy as of right now. I think you ride him while he's hot. Shesterkin's going to still be there and solid and formidable. But have him be the 1B for a bit and ride Quick with this hotness. We don't know. We're probably not going to get 35 wins from Quick. We're not going to get 2012, 2014 Quick this year. But what we're getting right now is fantastic, and the Rangers need to just ride with that. So don't make it a controversy. Just make Quick your guy for the moment.
Yeah, it's if it's not a full blown controversy yet, it's getting closer because you're right. Shesterkin's been he's been okay, not great. For the large part of the season so far. But we know he'll find it, but later in the season, he'll get his game back to where we know it can be. Right now, Jonathan Quick is playing extremely well. I think he's actually rejuvenated by being with the Rangers because he knows the one thing about signing with the Rangers in the offseason is a team that has expectations. And I think that's what he's looking for. A team that's, they've got the expectations. And I think he realizes, wait a minute, I've still got something in the tank. I still love playing. It's the same thing we're seeing from Patrick Kane in Detroit. Why is he still playing? He has nothing to prove either. He's won a bunch of cups. He's been one of the best players in the NHL at his position for the last 15 years, just like Jonathan Quick has been that for the last 15 years at his position as a goaltender. He's got nothing to prove. He's got jack shit left to prove. He's won cups. He's been Vezina Trophy winner, Quick. Kane's been the best player in the NHL or won awards, won Stanley Cups, the whole bit. They got nothing left to prove. Why are they still playing? Because they fucking love to play the sport and play in the NHL, the best league in the sport. That's as simple as that. And it's what fuels them. It's what galvanizes them. It's what motivates them on a daily basis, both Quick and Patrick Kane. And you're seeing them both, still thriving, and those were two players. Think about it, Alex, from 2010 to 2020, that decade of NHL hockey, those two players dominated and they had their fingerprints all over NHL excellence from 2010 to 2020. Patrick Kane and Jonathan Quick, and here they are still going right now in 2023 with new teams now. Both parallels too. Chicago, for Patrick Kane, pretty much his whole career, then briefly with the Rangers, now with Detroit, and here's Quick, his whole career in LA, now with ever so briefly with Columbus. Ever so briefly with Columbus, Vegas, which he didn't play much there, and now, of course, with the New York Rangers. So, great parallels there with those two guys, no doubt. And the other games, I don't know how the hell Anaheim that's tough. I mean, they were up 2-0 early in the third last night, and Winnipeg with 4 unanswered goals, including an empty net goal to sink the +1.5 that I had as well. on the Ducks. That's a horrendous loss for the Ducks. Struggles continue, but credit to the Jets. Not their best game, but found a way still. All it took was one really good third period, and they come back. They beat the Anaheim Ducks 4-2 last night. Seattle, man, that's it for me. I gave them a couple of chances this weekend at home in good spots against teams I thought they could beat, and they still couldn't. I thought they took a step back last night. I thought the Tampa game, they played well. The New Jersey game played well. I'm not so sure they played as well last night. And, of course, they got shut out 3-0 by the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota did have the better of the play in the last two periods. It's a bad way right now for Seattle. They're not scoring now. They're not keeping the puck out of the net. Grubauer's hurt. A couple other injuries, too. Tough spot for Joey Decord to be in, and they lose again to Minnesota 3-0 last night. And then the Wild game of the night. What a week for Randy Hahn, man, and the San Jose Sharks. I mean, Randy Hahn has had like multiple outstanding calls of some of these heroics and comebacks this week by the San Jose Sharks. And he had another one last night when they came back to tie the Vegas Golden Knights. Wow. I mean, what can I say? I mean, I took a shot with San Jose in the draw once again last night, and I thought it was looking, I'll be honest, I didn't think they were going to do this again when it got to 4-2 for Vegas. I'm like, this is Vegas now. This is not Detroit, although they're a solid team, and this is certainly not the Islanders. This is Vegas. You know, you're not going to be able to pull this comeback shit this time. Well, they nearly did. You know, they made it 4-3, and then they tie it in the final minute, 4-4, and it goes to a shootout where the Vegas Golden Knights end up getting the win. So they can't complete the comeback and get the win, but for my purposes, they come back to at least force overtime and cash one of the massive draw prices I've had all year, San Jose Vegas, plus 440 with that draw last night in that game. So absolutely over the moon to cash that bet. And again, we'll say this again, Alex, you and I, a draw bet a day keeps the bookies away, especially when you can cash a draw bet at plus 440, like in that San Jose Vegas game. So what can you say? The Cardiac Sharks right now, another valiant effort, even though they fell short in the shootout eventually. What do you think about that, Alex?
As I say it all the time, sometimes a blind squirrel finds a nut and a broken clock is right twice a day. And that's just kind of where the Sharks are right now. The streak of losses was just so bad and just epically horrendous. You know, when you have a team that went back-to-back games giving up 10 goals, the tide had to turn in some way. And here's the turning of the tide. Now, does this mean all of a sudden this team goes on a run and becomes a wild card contender? Absolutely not. This team is still going to be toward the bottom of the league, still trying to Celebrini, if you will, with getting the first overall pick in the draft. But they're having a good run right now. We're able to identify and cash these great prices with the draws, with money lines. Take them when we can get them. They're going to be few and far between. The thing is, we can't start falling in love with these big prices the same way we start liking a streak of favorites or any kind of streak. We have to still just identify it game by game, take it for what it is, and realize that with the fact that the Sharks are still a bad hockey team, when this does end, it could end in a colossal way where we might go right back to fading them in any way possible like we did just 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, there's absolutely some truth to that. No question about it, because this is just a little lightning in a bottle sequence of games right now for San Jose. And I'm fascinated now that this has all been on, this has all been on the road, for San Jose with these incredible comebacks on the road, winning games, forcing overtime, and finding a way to come back in these games. Let's see how they fare now when they get back home. Now, starting tomorrow night when they play Winnipeg, let's see now if that magic and that aura is still with them or it's gone now that they're back home, following that long road trip. So very, very interesting to watch that tomorrow night when they play the Winnipeg Jets. And of course, that game tomorrow night is part of the Tuesday night card, which is our live betcast, our final live betcast for the year 2023, Tuesday, December 12th, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're looking forward to it. It's a really good NHL slate tomorrow, our final betcast for the year and our only betcast here in the month of December. But we got Carolina, Ottawa, Toronto Rangers, Tampa Bay, Vancouver, Calgary, Vegas, Florida is in action against Seattle, Chicago, Edmonton. That's a tough one for Chicago with the way Edmonton's playing, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes nevertheless. So tomorrow night, Tuesday, December 12th, as always, you can DM or email me or Alex for the a spot on the BetCast, and we will send you the link for the BetCast before it begins tomorrow night. Definitely looking forward to that, no question. All right, let's get into it. We've got our Monday night NHL card, and we'll begin with the Leafs and the Islanders. It is Toronto minus 125, road favorites, 6 the total here, shaded to the under in this game. The Leafs, I'll say it right now, this was the best, most complete game I've seen the Leafs play Saturday night against Nashville. If anyone saw that game, they were just dominant. I think the shots were like 38-20 for Toronto. It was as good as they played at both ends of the ice. Outstanding. Samsonov looked very good, returning from his long illness, absence, pitched a shutout. I thought they played as well defensively as I've seen a Leaf. The Leafs have not been great defensively this year. That's been their issue, but that was as good a team defensive effort as I've seen in a very long time in that victory. Now they go on the road looking to build on that against the Islanders. And keep in mind, Dad's trip for the Toronto Maple Leafs here in Long Island tonight, and then against the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden tomorrow night. So it's the 2-game New York Dad's road trip here for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I should point out too, Alex, that Nashville game Saturday night, the Dads were there too for that home game against Nashville. That sparked the best effort of the year. You can't disappoint. Ty Domi's in the fucking press box. Longtime NHLer. You're going to lay an egg with that guy there in the press box? No, you can't do it. You got to show up. You got to play well. You got to play hard. No question about that. So this is Dad's trip time for the Leafs here. I do like Toronto a little bit here in this game, quite honestly. I think the Islanders, it's a dubious spot. They're off the big comeback against LA, ending the LA Kings 11-game road win streak to begin the year. And I don't trust this team after a win. You know, they haven't been good, stringing good performances together consistently. Dad's on the trip with the Leafs here for this game. So I do like Toronto a little bit, minus 125. It's the Ilya Bowl, college football season, bowl season. It's the Ilya Bowl, you could say. Ilya Samsonov, Ilya Sorokin, the two goaltenders here for the Leafs and the Islanders in this game. Leafs for me, but even more than that. You know what I like even more than the Leafs. You know it. You know it, you know it, you know it. Leafs, draw magnets for the last 2 or 3 weeks. The New York Islanders, draw magnets for the last, for a very long time. You could say probably as well, at least the last couple of weeks. So you've got the Leafs who have played all these draws. Now, again, Nashville, they had a convincing win, no draw that night. But the Islanders have a way of it's going to be a close game. Good chance it's a 1-goal game. That's just the way the Islanders are playing right now. And really, the Leafs were playing that way every game pretty much before the last couple of games. So the draw to me is a clear choice. No question about that here in this game. And again, make sure you shop around to get the best price you possibly can with the draw. There's always these discrepancies when it comes to the prices with draw bets. But I always say FanDuel's always got among the best, and it's plus 350 at FanDuel for the draw here with the Leafs and the Islanders. So it's a Leafs draw split for me here in this game. Alex, Leafs Islanders.
I haven't given the disclaimer this year. I usually give it often, especially during the second half of the season in the playoffs. But this is one, like you said, shop around and get the best price possible for the regulation draw. Do not bet yes or no overtimes. And the reason why I'm saying this is because you're seeing some plus 300s, plus 290s even with the regulation draw. And that is still a better price than what you're going to find if you bet yes or no for a game going to overtime, because those prices I've seen are like 250, 260. So you know we're in the 300 range. You want to try to at least always get plus 300 on a regulation draw no matter what. If there's circumstances like the playoffs where we get those 280s, 290s, then we can kind of adjust accordingly. But you should always be getting plus 300 or better, and you should always be betting the regulation draw or the tie in the 60-minute. However, it's in your 60-minute window. So look for that instead of your yes, no props. I just have to give that disclaimer out because people have messaged me saying they bet the game to go to overtime, and then they shortchange themselves 40 cents, 50 cents. It's happened for years and years. So just want to give that disclaimer out and saying that I am on the draw here with the Leafs. And this will probably be the last game that I'm on the draw unless this one hits. Looking just at their schedule ahead, they got the Rangers on the road, and then they have Blue Jackets, Penguins, and Rangers again at home. So the streak that we've seen, it might be coming to an end, but I'm taking one more shot with it here. I got plus 350 at FanDuel, regulation draw here with Leafs and Isles.
All right, so we both like the draw. I also like the Leafs a little bit here, minus 125. Again, hopefully they build on it, because, if that's the Leafs team we get tonight that we saw Saturday against Nashville, they'll win this game. That was a perfect performance by the Leafs the other night, and everybody was great. The top players were great. The defensive buy-in was great. Samsonov was very good in his return in between the pipes. Complete team game, as good as I've seen all year from the Leafs. If they bring that tonight, they win, but that's always been the issue at times, is that consistency. We'll see, though. But I definitely can't avoid betting the draw. Not with these two teams, not with their propensity to play to overtime or shootouts lately. The Leafs have still gone to overtime or a shootout in 5 of their last 8 games. And for the Islanders, it's been 5 times in the last 10. 2 of the last 3 have gone past regulation. So like I said, it's just been a great chance maybe for overtime or a shootout. So this is definitely a clear draw choice for both of us here, plus 350. Good point in the chat. John Tavares, 2 points shy of 1,000 points in his career. I think not just 1 point, I think over 1.5 points is a good bet. I think he wants to get it here. He knows he's going to get booed there again. This is one of the biggest jokes in sports, that guy still gets booed after all these years there, like in Long Island. It's ridiculous, I think, at this point. It's like time to move on with life. Been like 7 or 8 years now. For the guy that's going to his hometown team that he cheered for, I get being pissed initially and booing the first few times. This is 8 years now. Like, isn't it time to not stop being bitter? It's the holiday season here, holiday spirit. It's time to get over it a little bit, but apparently not, because he did a lot of stuff in the community there when he was with the Islanders. That's the thing. And he represented that team great. They were good teams there when he played there. He had some big goals in the playoffs there. I just think now it's 8 years, guys. Let's move on a little bit here. Heckling them all the time. Every time they go back there, it's a little much for me. And look, there are some instances when if Tavares leaves there and he says, I just don't like being here anymore, and he said something publicly to admonish the team and the fan base, and I say, go for it. Boo the fuck out of him, because for anything, for bad mouthing and besmirching the organization. But he never did that. He was always classy, going out there, even after leaving the Islanders. He's been booed every time. They ask him about it after the game every time he's gone there, and he's been booed, and he never says a bad word about anybody or the team, and they still keep doing it. I mean, it's not like he went at bad-mouthed the team and said, this place sucks, I want to go back home. He didn't say anything like that. He exited with class. He exited with grace, and to me, I get it booing him the first couple times, that first season, first 2 seasons. This is 8 years, guys, 8 years. Things have progressed a little bit here. Let's go on with life, for Christ's sake. Holy goodness. You disagree, though, it sounds
I disagree with that. Yeah, I completely disagree with that. I think, he was, like I said, the lifeblood of that organization. Like I said, he was a person in the community. He was a guy. He was that franchise. And then just completely abandoned them when they were in complete disarray. They didn't know where they were going to be playing. They were talking about shutting down the Coliseum. They were playing in the Barclays Center. They were wearing black uniforms. All kind of crazy shit was going on. And then he just vanished. So I get that they felt, alienated. And then he leaves for Toronto. They don't see the fact that he's going to his hometown. They see him going to the big bad, Maple Leafs. So I understand that. No, if I'm an Isles fan, I'd probably boo him for the rest of my life too. I get it.
There we go. So bitter forever says good to be bitter forever for Alex with the.
I hold a grudge though. I'm different. Yeah. I can hold a grudge for a minute. So I still boo Chris Chelios to this day. There's a lot of beefs and gripes that I have as a fan. So I understand both sides of the coin. And like I said, you don't boo everybody just because they leave town. A perfect example would be Patrick Kane coming back to Detroit. No one in the world should be booing him, even though the circumstances are awful. So, but like I said, it's circumstantial. I get why they'll boo him. And the thing is, Isles fans, if he gets the record tonight, they might flip around and cheer him for getting the record, but they're still going to boo him every time he touches the puck. That's the difference.
Oh, guaranteed. Oh, it will happen. You know what? I actually got the timeline wrong. It's only been 5 years he's been gone. 5 years it's been with Toronto, not 8. I thought it feels like it's been longer.
It does seem
5
like it's
years,
been around
2018.
longer.
Yeah. 2018. So 5 years, 5 going on 6 years. That's still a long time, but no, they're clearly, and they've made it known every time the Leafs have played there since Tavares has been a Leaf, that they will let their feelings known on John Tavares.
Perfect example of chat.
But if anything, that's going to get him to want to get the 1,000 points tonight, John Tavares. So I think it's worth a shot, that over 1.5 points there with him tonight in this game against the Islanders, who again aren't the same defensive team. I'll tell you what, if this were to slip to 5.5, this total, and showing signs of that, I'd lean over. but I'll wait to see if there's maybe a 5.5 showing up. We know the Islanders haven't been that under machine, not even close to what they've been in recent years.
And I just want to make one more point about this too. Bankroll Spence had the comment in the chat about, booing's a part of sports. What do we talk about all the time with the Maple Leafs, right? The wine and cheese crowd, how damn quiet they are. Yeah. Show some life. We can never, ever say that the Islanders don't show any life in that crowd, okay? The team might not show any life offensively on the ice at times, but in that crowd, they're always going to show that spirit, that loyalty, and that passion, and those are the things we love.
Well, here's the thing about the Islander crowd where I'll slightly disagree. In a mundane setting where it's like the, the Anaheim Ducks on a Tuesday night, that place can be dead for an Islander home game.
Yeah.
But you get a big opponent, a rivalry, a situation like Tavares coming back into the building, or you get a playoff game there. Anytime they're in the playoffs, that fan base is nuts, for their home. It depends on the setting. But if you get the Islanders as a good team in a playoff game at home, or in a situation where they're like tonight, they're going to be playing against John Tavares. The fans are still upset that he left the team and signed with the Leafs 5 years ago. Then that building can be jumping and be very loud. And you're right, that's something you rarely see or hear these days with Toronto. You're right, wine and cheese crowd. I can't believe how quiet Scotiabank Arena is, especially for a weeknight home game against an opponent that's not a rival. It's unreal how just deathly silent the building is. And that's been an issue, obviously, for the Leaf home games for years. All right, Arizona, Buffalo. We've got the Sabres minus 130, home favorites, 6.5 the total. Yeah, I like that, Mike. Anything Tavares, over 3.5 shots, probably worth a look, too. Coyotes and Sabres here tonight in this game. Arizona continuing this road trip here tonight against the Sabres. They lost, of course, to Boston 5-3. It's 9 goals in the last 2 starts for Connor Ingram. So we got to watch this now. See, starting to fade again on us, but we won't be able to tell tonight because Karel Vejmelka is going to get the starting assignment tonight in goal for the Arizona Coyotes. We'll see how he fares. Buffalo, obviously, they're still dealing with, Samuelson day-to-day on the injured list. Alex Tuck, of course, on IR as well. Buffalo, a 3-2 shootout loss to Montreal. And didn't I say it on Saturday that I didn't trust Buffalo as a big favorite there against Montreal, and they cashed in with Montreal in the draw in that game. We'll see how this one plays out, Coyotes and Sabres. Buffalo has won 3 of the last 4 meetings between these two teams. We'll see how this one goes. I mean, I just don't have a really, really strong opinion on this. Buffalo has been good off a loss at times lately. We'll see if they can bounce back here against Arizona after losing to Montreal. I'm not laying a price with Buffalo, though, right now. Simple as that. I'm not on Arizona yet, though. It's a pass for me as of right now. More so props, what I'm looking at here in this game. I'll get to that in a minute. First, Alex, what do you think here? Coyotes, Sabres.
Yeah, this is a game I really wish that we had our guest here, Carter Hutton, for, obviously, playing with both of these teams. And I would have loved to get his take on both these goaltending, groups as well, because we're talking about two very interesting moving parts as far as goaltending rooms go. But as this game goes, I would like to be on Buffalo. I would love to be on Devin Levi against Karel Vejmelka, especially with Vejmelka kind of struggling a little bit. And Yotes seeming to be kind of out of steam here, but I just can't bring myself to lay 130. So maybe this is a game I watch and observe and look for something live. Maybe, Arizona takes a 1-0 lead, but they're not playing as well. They kind of run out of steam. I got a chance to grab Buffalo in game or do something with that. So this will be a live game. It's just a pass for now.
You know what prop I'm mentioning for Arizona? You don't even have to think about it twice now. Michael Carcone, that's who, of course. This guy's just amazing. And like I said, he's not even on the top 6. He's on the third line for Arizona with Alex Kerfoot on the third line with, and it looks like Dermott, who was initially a defenseman. They've basically transitioned him to forward, and he's been on that third line lately as well for the Coyotes because they do have a lot of injuries up front. So Travis Dermott's transitioned from blue liner to forward. He's been on that line as well. But Michael Carcone now has 13 goals this season in just 25 games for the Arizona Coyotes. I saw on a stat that he is leading the NHL in 5-on-5 even strength goals this year. That is remarkable. Michael Carcone, folks. A third-line player for the Arizona Coyotes is like leading the league in 5-on-5 goals this season. So it's been remarkable to watch him operate. He scores against Boston, of course, on Saturday, one of the goals, even though they lost that game. And if you look at the pricing still for this guy, plus 430 at Betano, you're still getting incredible prices with Michael Carcone to score a goal. Plus 430 at Betano, plus 390 at DraftKings and BetMGM, 350 at FanDuel. Still incredible prices. So there's no doubt I'm going to be on that prop yet again. Michelli and Krause, Keller in some form. Keller's been outstanding, really, of late. Now, you don't get the value with him as some of those other players, but, Clayton Keller, what can you say? This might be a time to take a shot with him for 1.5 points tonight, maybe. He's got 3, 4, 5, 6 points in the last 5 games here for the Arizona Coyotes. For the Buffalo Sabres, J.J. Peterka, Dylan Cousins, Zach Benson. I really do believe if they're going to get some offense, it's going to come from those 3 guys in particular. It's been a little tough sledding for Tage's line since he's been back from injury. So those are the players I would target, those 3 on the second line. I think that's been one of their better lines lately for Buffalo. Benson, Cousins, and J.J. Peterka for the Buffalo Sabres. Definitely they've been solid of late. Yeah, I mean, Tage just doesn't look himself right now. And he wasn't great before the injury, but certainly coming back from the injury, he's really not gotten his game fully back on track. So again, we've got Vejmelka in net for Arizona, projections of Levi for Buffalo, but not confirmed yet that Devin Levi will start for them. All right, Detroit and Dallas. We've got Dallas minus 210, home favorites, 6 the total here in this game. Red Wings off a very emotional, bubbling cauldron of a game, if you will, against Ottawa. I mean, that game was nuts on Saturday. First of all, it was like a sandwich hit to the neck area, a sensitive area for Dylan Larkin. In the first period it was Parker Kelly on one side and it was Matthew Joseph on the other side. That sandwich hit him. I think it was Joseph that got him more in the neck area. And there's Dylan Larkin, the captain of the Red Wings, down on the ice, face first. And then it's just hilarious that after that, and David Perron loses it because that's his captain. And that's the right response as far as is the initial emotional reaction. That's your captain down on the ice. But he sees at the moment that he turns and looks and sees Larkin on the ice, the guy actually standing over Dylan Larkin at that moment for Ottawa was a guy that had nothing to do with the hit that put Larkin on the ice. It was Artem Zub, the defenseman for Ottawa. And that's the thing Perron got wrong. He assumed that Zub was the perpetrator of what happened to Dylan Larkin with that hit to the neck area that put him out. And now he's on IR, of course. Dylan Larkin out at least indefinitely. And Perron just lost it on Zub and just cross-checked. And he shouldn't have done that. You just can't lose it to that extent where you're cross-checking a guy right in the face. That's dangerous. That's vicious. That's way too vicious. That's way too violent. Can't be going over that kind of an edge if you're David Perron. And look, he's not that much of a dirty player, and he just emotionally lost it in that moment. 5-game suspension, by the way, handed down to David Perron. And that's what it was. It was a reckless cross-check to the face for a guy that actually had nothing to do. He got the wrong guy. It's like someone accused of murder when they didn't pull the trigger. That poor Artem Zub, he had nothing to do with it. And there's David Perron just whap, cross-check to the face for doing nothing, essentially. So Perron just got the wrong guy. You can't assume in that situation. Maybe you get in the guy's face a little bit and say, hey, what's going on here? But he just assumed, okay, Larkin's down on the ice. This guy is standing over him. Zub, this is the guy that did this to him. And obviously that was not the case. So just lost it. Sometimes you just, your emotions get away from you. And that's exactly what happened in that moment for David Perron. But after that, it seemed like after the Larkin incident, Alex, they were flat the rest of the game. Ottawa just handed it to them the rest of the game. They ended up winning 5-1. And now they have to play this game without their captain, Dylan Larkin. And they're really shorthanded at center because they're already without City of Comfort, crazy motherfucker named JT Comfort. He is out straight out of Comfort, out on IR as well right now for the Detroit Red Wings. And Klim Kostin, another guy that's a center, depth center, but he's on IR now too for the Detroit Red Wings. So here's your center ice position for them tonight. Joe Veleno is between DeBrincat and Kane. You've got Andrew Kopp, the second center, with Raymond and Fabry. And you've got Michael Rasmussen, the third line center. And they've brought up Austin Zarnik, Jonathan Berggren, who's, by the way, in trade rumors. I'm hearing Detroit's trying to trade him because he's had a tough season so far. And even in the AHL, he's had a tough season for the Red Wings. And Zach Aston Reese, all of them called up because of all the injuries right now for Detroit. So tough spot. Billy Husso expected to be, no, it's James Reimer, I beg your pardon. James Reimer confirmed in net for the Detroit Red Wings tonight. Jake Ottinger in net for the Dallas Stars. Jake Ottinger, I'll tell you what, he needs a bounce back. He's lost his last 3 starts, and he's given up 15 goals in the last 3 starts. And nobody has been a bigger fan on probably an NHL betting show of Jake Ottinger than yours truly and Alex B. Smith. I mean, we have gone to bat. We think he's got incredible potential here as an NHL goalie, but he's in one right now. He's in a bit of a struggle. He's in a bit of a slump right now. We know Jake Ottinger's better than this, but right now and overall, his numbers now are suddenly 2.84 goals against, which is not great, but not terrible. But 905 save percentage isn't great for a goalie of this caliber. We think Jake Ottinger's a lot better than that. We'll see how he fares. We do think of him as a bounce-back goalie, and that was pretty rough, on Saturday afternoon against Vegas. 6-1 loss. He gives up all 6 goals. You got to think there's a deep down inside, this is a guy that's going to be pissed off and wanting to play well tonight. I definitely think Detroit could be a little vulnerable, with the shorthanded lineup going on the road here against an angry Dallas team, which obviously is not going to be thrilled with their performance against Vegas on Saturday, a team that, they should always be up to play that team, and they couldn't have played worse, really, on Saturday against that Vegas Golden Knights team. So I think there's a Dallas spot. But the problem is minus 210. You're just not getting great bargains at all with the Dallas Stars these days. I mean, it feels like I want to be on Dallas here, regulation -1 or a first period puck line. Maybe a first period puck line might be the best way to go here in this game with Dallas, but I'm not sure I'm going to get there to the betting window. I mean, they're just constantly priced very highly in the betting markets, Dallas. And so it's tough to find that great price, that great value with them, even though the spot screams Dallas bounce back against a Detroit team without their captain, depleted at center, depleted overall. So I definitely lean Dallas, but it's just a question of value for me. Alex, what are you thinking here? Red Wings and Stars.
Yeah, this game is just, I'm excited for this game. And I said it this morning, it's very hard to believe that I would be excited for a Dallas versus Detroit game, especially with the circumstances of Patrick Kane playing with Detroit. But this is, like I said, strictly financial. There's a lot of great spots here, and no bigger spot here than the first period over. We've been riding this on Dallas. It's cashed 6 in a row, 18-5 on the season. Now they're taking on the Red Wings team that has gone 8-3 quietly to the first period over in their last 11. Last 7 meetings between these two teams, 5 of those games have gone over in the first period. And we can lay $1.30 or even cheaper at some of the Canadian books with this first period over. So I love that spot. I'm also riding both teams to score plus 170 in the first period. And I'm on the draw, which you can get at FanDuel at plus 390. We've seen 3 of the last 6 meetings between these two teams go past regulation. So 3 plays that I really love. And there's a couple of player props I like too. I am going with Sir Patrick Kane to get a goal here. Get him at plus 250 at FanDuel. Most goals he scored against a single team in his entire career, the Dallas Stars, with 32 goals. So that's a spot that I like. And there's a player prop that I like for Dallas. I'm going to save that one for a little bit later in the argument department.
There we go. Lots to like for Alex here. I actually might add that first period over with the numbers you were throwing out there with the Dallas all season dominant to the first period over. And I know you were on that first period over Vegas, Dallas. That was as easy as it gets with that on Saturday. And you're right, Detroit's sort of trending that way as well over in the first period lately. And they did again against Ottawa on Saturday. But yet the full game stayed under, much to my chagrin, with the Detroit-Ottawa game on Saturday night. So, yeah, I think that first period, I think I might get in on that as well, even though I'm not the huge first period over guy you are. But that makes sense. Minus 130 as well. Like, that's as good of a price as you're going to get on a first period over in quite some time. So it's a good look, I think. First period over with Detroit and Dallas. That draw, you mentioned it too. I mean, there's been 3 overtime games head-to-head in the last 5 meetings between them. So, the draw. You know what I might do? Just Dallas early, first period puck line, first period over, and the draw, because they could get up early, and sometimes they've let teams back into games, Dallas. So keep that in mind. So we'll see how it goes. And last time Detroit was without Larkin, they looked way off, says Major Tom, who's a big Red Wings fan, as you can tell. So, there's no doubt. So Reimer tonight, Reimer in net, Mike, for Detroit in this game. His numbers are actually pretty good, 2.18 goals against, 922 save percentage. However, the last 2 starts haven't been as good. 3 goals on 24 shots to Montreal, and then he got lit up by Ottawa, 5 goals. That was the game in Sweden, the Global Series, that crazy game back and forth. Yeah, Reimer had a tough day in that one against Ottawa. But, so I think that's what I'll do. I'll do a Stars first period puck line plus money. We'll do first period over and the draw a little bit. And then for props, pretty much, I've said for Dallas with the player props lately, focus on Pavelski, Marchment, Duchesne, and Seguin. Those are the guys that are really playing really well right now offensively for this team. They're the players you want to take for goal props, assist props, point props right now at this stage. We'll see how that goes tonight, but definitely interested in that. I think for Detroit, Fabry and Veleno's on the number 1 center tonight. Now, he has cooled off since that just rip-roaring start he had. He's been up the lineup the last 3 games, and he doesn't have a point. But now he's the number 1 line with the Cat and Patrick Kane. If there's ever an opportunity for Joe Veleno to make an offensive impact, it's tonight. And his goal prop is plus 470. I mean, the guy's a number 1 line center. At plus 470, even if scoring, whether he scores or not, I have to take that price. I have to bet that price. Whenever the number 1 line center plus 470 to score a goal is not something you're going to see every day. So for that reason, I've got to look in that direction. No question for Detroit tonight, playing between Alex DeBrincat and Patrick Kane. All right, the final game of this Monday slate, we go to the Mile High City. It is Calgary and Colorado. We've got the Colorado Avalanche minus 170 home favorites in this game. The total currently 6, shaded to the under. I'll tell you what, how about Colorado losing back-to-back home games, which is something that does not happen to them very often against Winnipeg and Philadelphia. Back-to-back home losses here for the Colorado Avalanche. They'll be looking to bounce back here tonight, taking on the Calgary Flames, who are coming off a disappointing loss against New Jersey because they got the shorthanded goal late in the first period from Igor Sharangovich, but they really couldn't sustain it as that game went on and were unable to hold the lead. New Jersey comes back and they end up beating Calgary 4-2. Calgary's now lost 3 of their last 4 games. We'll see how they fare here in Denver against the Avs. A Colorado team, rather, that we've talked about them. They've been banged up a little bit. They just learned that Arturi Lehkonen is going to be out a lot longer for them than initially anticipated. That's unfortunate. Sam Girard's away tending to mental health issues. So they're a banged up team a little bit. But at least the last couple games, Cale Makar has come back, which is good to see. Valeri Nichushkin missed a couple of games. He's back as well. It kind of feels like for Colorado, this is a stop the bleeding spot. But at the same time, you look at the peripheral, the in-depth numbers of these last 2 games, they're giving up more chances. They're having trouble finishing. The last couple of games, scoring just 2 goals in the losses against the Flyers and the Jets. They're only 1-5 in their last 6 games, including the only team that's lost to the Anaheim Ducks in Anaheim's last 10 games. So it's not easy to just say, hey, let's lay minus 170 here with Colorado, who are slumping in their own right at the moment. That being said, do I trust Calgary here? Not really. Colorado's won 5 of the last 6. They've won 3 straight here in Denver against this team, including earlier this season. Colorado had a 3-1 win against Calgary. Dan Vladar, by the way, is in net tonight for the Calgary Flames, not Dustin Wolf, who has gotten the last couple of starts. So it's back to Dan Vladar, who has a 3.45 goals against, 877 save percentage. And yet, if you actually look, his history against Colorado, and I know Alex focuses on this more often than I do, his history against Colorado is actually quite good, Dan Vladar. So we'll see how he fares here tonight against the Avs. It's a really tough game all around for me. Mostly going to look at props. I think if I were to look at a side, I'd honestly take Calgary at the plus number before Colorado, but I just don't know if I want to step in front of Colorado looking to avoid a third straight home loss with a Calgary team that's basically the epitome of mediocrity and inconsistency right now. What do you think here, Alex? Flames?
Yeah, you mentioned, Vladar does have a good mark with the Flames, but like I said, it just is a tough spot. It's, Avalanche have been dominant, and Vladar is not really the goaltender that I want to just back right now with Calgary. Obviously, like I said, between him and Dustin Wolf, Wolf's the better goaltender, but he's had his struggles as well. And it's not all, their fault. Both goaltenders have made, quality saves, but they've been left hung out to dry by their blue liners in front of them at times. Colorado's one of those teams, like I said, especially at home, they're the Toronto of the West. They can, make this game a muckfest and win it 3-2 in a shootout when they should have lost, or they can put the screws to somebody and win 7-1. So they're a tough team to read, and this is not the price where I want to jump in with them. I might play something small on both teams to score in the first period, and that's probably all I'll be doing.
All right, I could see that, both teams to score in the first period here in this one. So, this is definitely one where these days when we think about, a lot more goals, a lot more scoring in the NHL, it's hard to find, a particular head-to-head series where it's been dominant with unders. This is one of them, actually, though, with Calgary and Colorado. 5-1 to the under in the last 6 meetings between the Flames and the Avs. And that's, I think the Avalanche, to be honest with you, with the way they've suddenly the last few games struggled to score goals, probably onus is more on, let's make sure at least we play a tidy defensive game and we'll let the offense, get back on track, stemming from playing good hockey, sound structured hockey in our own zone. So we'll see how that goes. And like I said, 5 of the last 6 have gone under between the Flames and the Avalanche. So yeah, just for me, it's not a whole lot from a side and total perspective. From a prop standpoint, though, there are a couple of interesting looks here. For Colorado, Logan O'Connor remains on the top line with McKinnon, and so does Jonathan Drouin. So if you're looking at value for props for Colorado, Logan O'Connor, Jonathan Drouin, both slotted on the top line with Nathan McKinnon, is probably where the value is. I mean, Logan O'Connor plus 500 to score a goal tonight for Colorado. Playing on the top line with McKinnon, you're not going to get that kind of a price very often for a top-line player. Now, he did score a couple games ago against Anaheim. And Jonathan Drouin, since he's been up on that top line with for the Avs, we saw 2 assists against Anaheim. There was a while back earlier in November. He did have 2 goals in 3 games. Again, these aren't guys that are shoe-ins to score even with that placement with McKinnon on the top line, but you're getting the price. Plus 500 on O'Connor, plus 390 for Drouin. Of course, Big Val Nichushkin back in the lineup. So much of the offense with him has been good of late, so could look at props for Big Val Nichushkin as well. And then for Calgary, there's a bunch that are appealing, believe it or not. Sharon Govich, finally, Alex, after a million chances, Sharon Govich finally scores, gets a beauty shorthanded goal against New Jersey Saturday. Backhand roof job in that game. Great goal past Vanacek. Maybe that gets him going because he's on a top-line spot with Lindholm and Mangiapane, and he absolutely, I think, might get a little bit of offensive confidence from that. He is a good finisher, good goal scorer. It hasn't come easily for him. He's been snake bit, but he finally got on the board against New Jersey, plus 370 for him to score a goal. And then there's 2 players on the second line for Calgary with Nazem Kadri. Matt Coronado is back on the team, called up from the AHL, and on the second line with Kadri, as well as, of course, Connor Zary. So I think Zary and Coronado in particular, there's some good player prop value with both of them. Coronado tonight, I'm seeing plus 550 in some spots for him to score a goal tonight for the Flames, plus 440 in others. And then Connor Zary, who has been pretty consistent for the most part since his call-up, plus 440 for a goal, plus 250 for an assist. So really good prices there for players that are up the lineup at the moment in top 6 forward roles for the Calgary Flames in this game tonight. All right, good stuff. That is the Monday NHL card. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button. And I'll stress this again because he actually called me right before the show to say he couldn't make it. He felt awful, Carter Hutton, that he had to cancel at the last minute. So we'll get him back on the show for sure at a later date. No question about that. I like I said to him, I just hope his kid is okay because obviously feeling sick, under the weather. and we'll get him back on the show at a later day. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Reminder, the Betcast tomorrow night, Tuesday, December the 12th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Looking forward to that. DM or email Alex or I for a spot on the Betcast, and we will send you the link for it before it begins. And, of course, patreon.com/Ice Guys, $10 a month, all our content there, daily card, all the charts, the and everything else. Make sure you check it out, patreon.com/Ice Guys, just $10 a month. Again, we'll keep posting the daily betting cards on the community tab until the end of the year. But if January 1st, we're still locked out of offering subscriptions and memberships on YouTube, we'll just be putting it Patreon only by that time. So make sure you're aware of that. And of course, the Ice Guys store. Again, time's running out to get your stuff before Christmas, but check it out nevertheless, iceguys.myspreadshop.com.
Yeah, if you're gonna buy stuff in the store now, like I said, they had the 15% off for the weekend. That did come to an end at midnight, so you're gonna pretty much be limited to express delivery, which is gonna cost a fortune, but it is available if you choose it. But we got all kind of merch that is still available and fully in stock, ready for you to have underneath the tree for Christmas. That's at iceguys.myspreadshop.com. And also the Patreon page, we got Chris Otto's charts up now. My goalie charts and power rankings have been updated as well, so definitely check that out. Iceguys.com, or sorry, patreon.com/iceguys to get that and follow our Linktree page as well, so you can keep up on everything with both stores, our Patreon page, the YouTube. Hopefully we get the monetization back. All of our Twitter pages as well. You can find that at linktree.com/theiceguys.
All right, good stuff there. All right, it is time for Bargain Bin Special of the night. This has been just a phenomenal segment, an addition and a new feature to the show. We never thought, like I said, in our wildest dreams, it would be this successful, this popular, and this profitable. My goodness, we've hit way more than I would have thought with this segment coming into the season, but it's been great. See if we can add to it tonight. Alex, where are you going for your bargain bin tonight?
Well, like I said, when you hit these kind of big number plays, we can kind of, browse around and be a little more creative. So I'm looking at some of the players in Dallas and Detroit, and I mentioned about Patrick Kane with his great streak against Dallas. But one thing that really stuck out to me was Esa Lindell. Look at his numbers. He has 14 career points against the Detroit Red Wings. That's more than any other team that he's faced. He has 3 goals and 11 assists. And I'm looking at some of the prop offerings. You can grab him to score a goal as high as 11-1 at DraftKings right now. 10-1 at FanDuel, 10-1 at BetMGM. I'm going to take a shot with Esa Lindell to get a goal anytime tonight in this contest. I do think we see goals back and forth. I think we see goals early. And Lindell has had a penchant for getting on the score sheet against the wing wheel. So let's go with Esa Lindell plus 1,100 is my bargain bin special tonight.
There you go. Oh, that's a real bargain bin. That's as discount, a bargain bin discount as you could ask for. 11-1. Esa Lindell for the Dallas Stars for Alex B. Smith with his bargain bin special of the night. For my bargain bin special of the night, I mean, I'm tempted to take Carcone again. I have to take Mark Carcone. I was actually going to go with Logan O'Connor. Okay, and I don't think his chances are as high to score right now as Carcone. Carcone's on fire, and we know Buffalo can give up goals. And the price is still way good enough, more than good enough for bargain bin material, no question. So I was going to go with Logan O'Connor for Colorado plus 500. But again, even though he's been up with McKinnon on the top line for a couple games, he hasn't produced yet. I still think he's got a chance. But for the official bargain bin special of the night for me, final answer, I'm going to go with the known proven commodity, Michael Carcone, Arizona Coyotes, plus 430 at Betano to score a goal. You could get plus 390 at BetMGM, DraftKings, plus 350 at FanDuel. So shop around, but every book has it at least at plus 300, which is the minimum threshold for the bargain bin special of the night. So Michael Carcone, we go right back to the well with him for the Arizona Coyotes, plus 430. Michael Carcone for my bargain bin special of the night for this Monday card. All right, best bets. We both won our best bet because we both had the same best bet last night with the New York Rangers. We'll see if we can add to it tonight. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
I think we're going in different directions for our best bet this evening. I'm going head down to Dallas. We're going with the Red Wings and Stars. First period over 1.5 minus $1.30. Dallas 6 straight first period overs, 18-5 on the season. Detroit 8 of the last 11 games overall have gone over in the first period. 5 of the last 7 meetings between the Wings and Stars have gone over in the first period. So At minus $1.30 at Caesars, we're going over 1.5 in the first with the Stars and Red Wings is my best bet.
All right, there you go. Over 1.5 in the minus 130 first period. Detroit, Dallas. Best bet here for Alex B. Smith in this one. My best bet for this card, I'm tempted to go with the draw, Leafs Islanders, but I'm going to go with the Leafs. Minus 120 to minus 125. I thought they played a great game against Nashville. I think it's a combination of a little letdown spot for the Islanders coming off the win against LA, which snapped the road trip. You've got tough, and plus this team, stringing wins together. I question that a little bit. And I believe too, if I'm not mistaken, I didn't bring this up in the analysis of the game, but head to head, the Leafs have done pretty well. Yes, they have. They're 5-2 in the last 7 meetings against the Islanders. And the dads are with them. This is a dad's trip game for the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight. So Toronto minus 120, my best bet here for this Monday NHL card. That'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. For Alex B. Smith, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Monday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Tuesday, a big Tuesday daily show and the live betcast coming your way on Tuesday right here on the Ice Guys.